He's done it again. Oh, people, I cannot tell you how happy that result has made me. As you can tell, I'm still not feeling 100%, and that game was 3:30 in the morning Melbourne time for me, and given that I'm sick at the moment, I should be resting, I should be taking advantage of sleep, and there was no way I was missing this game. But when I got up at 3:30 and my throat was sore and I was feeling shit and I knew I had an early start for work, I was just thinking to myself, you better do your job, Arsenal, or else I will be fuming. And boy, did they do their job. Arsenal 4, Tottenham 1, a massive 3 points, and finally a statement made. And look, don't get me wrong, Tottenham are terrible. Like, the one thing that I took away from this, beyond everything else, is just how bad Tottenham are. They are atrocious, and genuinely, they could be relegated. Like, they could actually be relegated. And I don't want to spend too much time on them because I really don't care, but they are shocking. And look, I know they've got a lot of injuries and all that kind of stuff, but they've just brought in this new manager from now to the end of the season, and that is a risky move. I don't think they will be relegated because I think the teams underneath them just aren't doing enough. But if they carry on in this form, they could be relegated, and that would be unbelievable. But anyway, let's get into the most important thing, which is focusing on our performance and the result and what that means. The starting 11 was pretty much as I expected. I was really glad that he went with Eze in the 10. He decided to stick with Nkapie, which I think is deserved. He went with Timber. Ben White wasn't even on the bench, so he's obviously got another issue at the moment. And I honestly, I think that is the problem for Ben White. I think if he's I don't know, he's obviously struggling with some issues this season, as he has done for the last 2 seasons. And I think it's the only reason why we haven't seen more of Ben White. There's obviously something quite significant going on that he's having to kind of manage and deal with, and that's why Timber's seen so many minutes. Because I must admit, we were getting to a place with Timber where I felt like he needed a break, and we needed to freshen that right side up, which is crazy for me to say because he's one of my favourite players. But yeah, obviously with Ben White not being available, Timber started. Saka on the right where he should have been, Trossard on the left, and Gyökeres up front. So I was happy with the starting 11, and I thought we started really well. We had some opportunities. Gyökeres had a really good opportunity early on in the game where he kind of cut inside. Is it Dragovic? Cut inside and got a good shot away that just went wide. Salib had a header from a corner which he should have at least got on target. From what I can see, it looked like he knew there was quite a few players on the line, so he was trying to direct it to the far right corner. But he should have at least been getting that on target. But then we got the breakthrough in the 31st minute. A good bit of play from Saka. Maybe slightly unfortunate in the sense that it was kind of a ricochet that allowed him to get past Sarr on that right-hand side. But from there, he gets a good dangerous ball in nice and low. And Eze, that was quite a difficult opportunity in the sense that ball came to him through a number of Tottenham players' legs, came through at pace, and he kind of, I don't know whether he did it on purpose, but he essentially flicked the ball up and then had to get his leg almost kind of like karate kicked down to keep the ball down and on target, and we go 1-0 up. And so, what more can you ask for? You want to get the first goal in a game like this, settle the fans down, shut the other team up, and it was a really promising start. And you could see Declan Rice during the celebration of that first goal kind of reminding the players like, okay, now we need to switch on, now we need to, be smart and control this game. And within literally seconds of the restart, of all the people to make the error, it's Declan Rice. And I think in that moment with Deckers, I think he's become such a pivotal part of this team. Like, he is the heartbeat of this Arsenal team and has been pretty much since the day he joined. And I think he's reached a level now, and I think we've reached a stage in the season where I think he's putting a lot of pressure on his shoulders to kind of drag us over the line. And I think that was a moment whereby I don't know if he underestimated our opposition or is just so full of confidence right now that he felt like he had the skill to put that off. But he basically was in a dangerous area and he tried to kind of jink his way past a player, lost the ball in a really dangerous area, and then before you know it, Tottenham have equalised within literally seconds of us scoring, which is like the worst case scenario when you score. And Rice immediately put his hands up, apologised to his teammates, realised he'd fucked up, and yeah, that was really disappointing because I felt like we started the game really well. We were in complete control and complete domination, and you're sitting there going, great, once again we've blown a lead really quickly. I must admit, if I'm being super critical, I've watched the highlights back and I don't know, let me know if you agree with me in the comments, but I feel like Raya could have maybe done better. The ball went pretty much right underneath him. And I know it was from close distance and it was a powerful strike, but I don't know, I feel like he could have maybe got that. That's just my thought. But anyway, so we go in at halftime at 1-1, and I'm not lying. I'm not feeling too confident at this point. Not in the sense that we were in complete control of the game, we were the better team, but it was just like, is this really going to happen again? Are we really going to slip up again? But immediately the second half kicks off, and great ball from Timber into Gyökeres, who absolutely rifles this kind of mid-trajectory rocket curling shot into the far right side of the goal past Vicario, and just the perfect way to start the second half, and a really big moment for Gyökeres. That felt like a real announcement moment for Gyökeres, and I've got to say, I think this probably was his most complete performance in an Arsenal shirt so far, and what a timely moment to produce that sort of performance. You know, we all know Gyökeres is not a silky footballer with an amazing first touch, but I think his first touch and his link-up play is getting a lot better. You can see that he's feeling more confident in terms of the way he fits into this team, and I think our surrounding attacking players are starting to appreciate and understand more what they need to give to him to give him the platform. So that was a really nice goal, perfectly timed, and just kind of took the pressure off that second half. And then it was a case of, okay, what are we going to do from here? Are we going to revert to type and sit back and invite pressure on and try and hold on to 2-1? Or are we going to try and push forward and get that next goal? And that's exactly what we did. And that made me so happy as an Arsenal fan, because this team is good enough and they should be confident enough and brave enough to want to have that mentality of like, okay, let's go get another one now. And that's the way we should be approaching the games, because that's ultimately what I think we should be doing. There was a nervy moment, I'm not going to lie. At 2-1 up in the 52nd minute, Moani equalised. And I've got to say, even as an Arsenal fan, as much as it pains me to say it, that was a really soft free kick and rule out of what, in my opinion, was a pretty clear goal. You know, Gabriel has a really bad habit of this. Like, if he feels anything in his back, he falls down and completely makes a meal of it. And he's basically relying on the ref to side with him. And although Moani had two hands, I think that was incredibly soft. And I'm surprised that the ref made that decision, but I'll take it. But I do think that Gabriel needs to cut that out. His role is defender. He needs to get rid of that ball. He can't be relying on the referee agreeing with his decision of, I felt something in my back, I'm going to fall down and try and get the foul. It's too risky of a play, particularly in the box. So we got off the hook in that instance, and then within about 6 or 7 minutes later, Eze gets the third goal, and we wrap the game up. A really nice work goal. Like, if you look at that quite closely, Eze started the move. He drove it forward to Gyökeres, who got a really nice little flick on to give it back to Eze, who then fed in Saka. I think Saka should have done better. I personally think Saka should have scored, but Van der Ven did a really good job of kind of blocking it or kind of intercepting it, and then it comes back out to Eze, who has a simple kind of tap in into the goal, essentially. And we go 3-1 up, and at that point you're thinking, right, this could actually be anything, because Tottenham were looking really shaky by this point, and you could see the confidence and the swagger in us was starting to develop. And at 3-1 at the 60th minute, you felt like, okay, this could be anything. And look, we had a few opportunities after that, a few kind of final bad balls that didn't really go to plan. In the 83rd minute, David Raya came up with a really great save Again, Richarlison managed to get this little naughty little flick, which I think went between Raya's legs, and he had to scramble, turn around, and scoop the ball off the line at the last minute, and then Mosquera takes it out for a corner kick. But that was a huge moment in the game, because that would have made it 3-2 with 7 minutes of normal time to play, plus a good 6 minute probably worth of extra time, and at 3-2 with 15 minutes to go, Tottenham would have had their tails up. We would have had the Wolves result in the back of our mind, and that could have been a really nervy moment for Arsenal. So that's a huge moment in the game for me, and a really top save from David Raya, who I think has been a bit shaky lately, but we can't begrudge the fact that he has pulled off some incredible saves for us over the last few seasons. So that was a massive moment, and then obviously Gyökeres got the icing on the cake with the fourth goal in like the 94th minute. A nice little pass from Odegaard. Gyökeres again, a good first touch to bring it onto his right hand side, and then he just a beautiful scooped finish past Vicario to make it 4-1 and just kind of seal off the day. And it was just a really good performance. It was everything as Arsenal fans you would want to see, and it was an answer to all of the things that have been thrown at us, which is we start too slow, we're too defensive minded, we're too pragmatic. We can't come back from slip ups, we can't hold on to a lead, we can't score enough goals. Like we kind of answered all the questions today, and considering how much pressure was on this game, given that City had beaten Newcastle the day before. Yes, I know Tottenham are shit, but that is an incredibly difficult ask to go to your North London rivals, who are absolutely frothing to put a nail in your coffin in terms of the Premier League title race. And for us to handle it the way we did and just let our quality do the talking, and then actually to keep going after that next goal and keep trying to put more punishment on them as opposed to holding on to a narrow lead, I was really impressed by that. In terms of some players that stood out, obviously the two most obvious are Gyökeres and Eze. Delighted for Eze. I mean, he must think he must wish that he could play Tottenham every week. Unbelievable record, 5 goals in 2 games. I mean, that's ridiculous. I thought he looked much more confident today. I still feel like he's a little bit too complacent on the ball, if I'm being really honest. There were a few moments where I feel like the ball was nicked off him, or he was kind of bounced off too easily, or he didn't go in where I think he should have gone in. So I would like to see him kind of improve in that sense, but I thought he looked really good carrying the ball, and 2 really important goals. And the same goes for Gyökeres. I think this was his most complete performance, as I said already, so I was really happy with those 2 performances. I thought Gabriel and Saliba looked really solid. I thought David Raya looked in control and calm and reassuring, back to his usual best. I thought Timber was not great again, but that ball into Gyökeres for the second goal was a really nice ball. And I thought it was interesting that they took Timber off quite early in that second half. He was obviously on a yellow card, which came off the back of another really poor pass from him. I thought Mosquera, when he came in, did exceptionally well. I think that is an exceptional player that we've got on our hands there. And it doesn't seem to matter where he plays in that back line. He just looks really comfortable, assured, and just a really solid option. And I thought he did really well on that right-hand side, keeping Jed Spence under wraps. Declan Rice, he totally made up for that error in the first half for Tottenham's goal. And that's what a leader is. They make a mistake, they put their hands up, and then they put a shift in. And that's exactly what Declan Rice did. And I wouldn't expect anything less from him. Who else? I thought Trossard was pretty poor, to be honest. I thought he was quite sloppy, particularly in that first half. And Trossard he's such an infuriating player, because 1 minute he looks unreal, and in the next minute, I don't know, he just looks really bang average, if I'm honest. He can't seem to put a pass in place. He seems kind of lethargic and like he's not really trying. And yeah, he's a frustrating player. So I don't think it was his best game. I thought Saka was a constant menace. I wouldn't say that he had the likes of Jed Spence or Van de Ven like on the ropes completely, but he was just a constant thorn in Tottenham's side and always giving the defenders something to think about. And when you've got that taking place, it frees up the likes of Eze and Gyökeres and Trossard to be more effective and dangerous. So I thought that was a really good performance from him. I'm hoping that last-ditch tackle towards the end of the game isn't anything serious. He obviously went off the back of that challenge, but yeah, I'm hoping it's nothing too serious. And now the players can enjoy a full week's rest prior to a massive game against Chelsea and just reflect. I think this is the time to reflect, see where we're at, embrace the journey in front of us, and just kind of go into these next few weeks with absolute confidence. As I said, that was a massive statement win from Arsenal. No matter how you want to dress it up, that was a really big performance and result from Arsenal. It keeps us with a little bit of distance between us and Man City, and it just reminds Man City that we're not going anywhere anytime soon, and that we're not just going to hand this to them like a lot of people are suggesting we were. So very, very happy. I couldn't be happier. So enjoy the week, people, and I'll speak to you in a couple of days when we start looking ahead towards the Chelsea match. But for now, just enjoy an 8-2 aggregate over Tottenham. 8-2. What a joke. And I would love nothing more than for us to win the Premier League and for them to get relegated. Unreal. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.